Emma from Crafting E, and today I'm going to teach you how to use Photoshop. So the first thing that you need to do is you need to open a new document. So you're going to go over to where it says open, and it's different on every version of Photoshop. Mine has a button right here. You click the down arrow and you can go to new blank file. But on most Photoshops, you can go to File, and then go to New, and then Blank File, and that's pretty much works on any Photoshop program that you have to create a new file. So the first thing that you're going to do is you need to give it a name. So I'm going to name this Photoshop Practice. And then these two drop-down menus right here, I just pretty much ignore them. I don't do anything with them. I just leave them as they are. So right here is where you can set the width and the height of your document. So you can choose any size you want. I tend to stick with 4x6 or 5x7 because that is what Costco prints, and they're pretty cheap. It can go anywhere from 10 cents to like 30 cents a print. So I'm going to change this to 4x6. So then if you go to this drop down menu, you see all these different choices. There's inches, centimeters, millimeters, points, picas, and pixels. I tend to stick with inches and pixels just because that's what I know the best and that's what's easiest for me. But if you know what these are, feel free to use them. So the resolution, 300 is a good resolution for something you're going to print out. In this case it is. So leave that at 300. Leave that alone. The color mode, just make sure it's RGB color. And then the background contents. Background contents is basically what color, whatever, what does your canvas look like. I tend to set mine on transparent. So if you're making a PNG and you just want the flower shape and you don't want any white square behind it, you're going to set it as transparent. You can also choose a background color, or you can choose your background to be white. I like my background to be transparent, and then I can just decide what color I want it to be later on. So choose transparent, and then once you have that all perfected, push OK. And here is your lovely canvas. It pops up on the screen. So you notice that there are gray and white squares. That basically means that when you save your document, depending on what you save it as, that's going to be clear. This is not going to show up. Only what you draw or what shape is on your canvas will show up. So now let's talk about layers. So layers is a really great thing. I love layers. So I'll explain layers to you. So let's say you go over to shapes right here, and you can see there's all these different shapes, and then there's the custom shape. So I'm just going to pick a custom shape. I'll just pick this since that's the first thing I see. And I draw that, and let's say that I want another shape. So I'm just going to change the color. I'm going to explain color later, but just so this is simple, I'm just going to do it without teaching you. So let's just say I do this. So let's say I want this crazy blue thing to be in front of this crossed out circle. In Photoshop there's something called layers, and it's over here to the right side. And you see that shape 2, which is this circle right here that I'm selected, is highlighted blue, and it's higher up on the menu than shape 1, which is the first one that we drew. So if I want the blue shape to be in front, all I have to do is click on shape 2 and drag it underneath shape 1. So now you can see that the blue shape is on top and the gray shape is on the bottom. So I'm just going to delete those. Okay, so now let's go over your background color and how to change it. Over here, there's 2 squares and that say color. To change the color of your document, you want to click on the top one that says set foreground color. So you want to click on that, and you can see there's like tons of different colors you can choose. It's every color possible. So if I want a blue, I'm going to go down to this blue area, and then I can go around and see all the different shades of blue. I'll just pick this one. And before we finish, I want to tell you one more thing. So also with the color picker, something really cool is that you can do is called hex codes. And so this box down here, you can see that this blue color has the hex code ABEAEC. So that's called its hex code. So if I click on this blue right here, you can see the hex code changes. And now it's 39D6DC. Every different shade of blue, every single color ever has a different hex code. The really cool thing is if you go on the internet, you can type in hex codes. And the reason that you maybe will want to use hex codes, maybe there's a color that you really like. You can look up that color. You can look up, like, say you wanted a turquoise and you were having a hard time finding a good turquoise that you liked. You can type in turquoise hex codes and it will come in for the hex code for turquoise. So I'm going to click on this link over here and see they have tons of different hex codes. So you can see all these colors and they tell you the hex codes for these colors. So I'm just going to pick this color because it's just kind of a pretty neutral color. And you can see that the hex code is EDE2DC. So you can either write this hex code down, remember it, or what I like to do is copy it. So highlight it on the page, and then you're going to go to Edit, Copy, and then you're going to go over to your document, and you're going to delete that hex code, and you're going to go to Edit and then Paste. And you see it puts in that hex code, and then it makes your foreground color that color that you liked. So then push OK. So now say you want to change your background to that color. So you're going to click the Fill Paint Bucket tool, and you're going to click on it, and then you're going to see we're on layer 1, which is the background, and you're going to click once, and that changes your background to that color. So now I'm going to teach you how to make text. So you're gonna click on this. You're gonna click on the T over here in your tools, and then you're gonna click on the screen, and the cursor will pop up, and you're going to type in whatever you want. So I'm just going to type in I am learning Photoshop. So you can see that it's not showing up. This is because our foreground color is our background, and we didn't change it before we typed in the text. So your foreground color, whatever that color is, everything that you draw, everything that you type in, everything that you put into the program is going to be that color. So we want it to show up is easiest if you click on you highlight the whole text. So double click or triple click, depends on your program. And then click on the color picker, the color tool that we learned earlier, and then go to white or whatever color you want and push OK. And it should change it to white. So you can also see that the text is a little too big. Using text in Photoshop is a lot different than Microsoft Word or other typing programs or word processing programs that there are out there. The difference is that text is it's basically in a text box. You don't have to change the font size. You can just pull in one of the squares and it'll change the size of it. So you can do that, but that makes it smaller and it makes it harder to read. It doesn't make it stand out as much. So instead of doing that, you can I like to line up, so the first word, I put it where I want it on the screen. And then the words after that don't show up, you put your cursor there and you push enter. And then it'll go to a different line. So you can see that makes it bigger and it makes it easier to see. A big part of digital design is font. So to change your font, you're going to go back to the T, and then you're going to come over and you're going to click on that text. And you can see when that text is highlighted, or it's on the T, then you can change it. So to change your font, you want to highlight all your text, and you can go down, and I have a lot of fonts that I download off the internet, and you can choose any one that you want, and it'll change that. So I'll just keep it at that for now. So I'm learning Photoshop. That's how you change the fonts. So now let's talk about brushes. So you're going to click on the brush tool to draw a line, and you can see when you put it over your canvas, it says says that you can't, basically. You can't draw a line. It says you could not use the brush tool because no layers are selected. So that's basically why you can't do it, because none of your layers are selected. So push OK, and then you're going to go over and you click which layer you want the line to be drawn on. I usually like to draw my lines on the background, just so that it's easy, I guess. So click on layer 1 if you want to draw your line on your background, and then you're going to go down. Notice when you go over your canvas, it doesn't say X. So there's a lot of different brushes that come with your program. So you can go click on the arrow. There's tons of them. There's like all of these. There's a lot. I usually just use a simple rounded brush. So